よりも気なりですね。
Welcome back, my tanks, healers, and damage dealers. I hope you missed these handsome faces just as much as we missed you during that break, but we're finally going to be back with our last game of the night, Fairfield University against Marist College, brought to you, of course, by EGF and myself, Septilance, and LaFon for this final hour.
Well, it's good to be back. It's been a little bit time for us to cool down from the last match and get ready for this one. So hopefully we should have a good one on the books, but I'm excited. We do have to, of course, talk about our map pool right off the rip because It is going to start with Oasis Control, followed by King's Row as our hybrid, and then Hanamura as our assault, and if necessary, going into Watchpoint Gibraltar, then Lijiang Tower. But, of course, map number 1, Oasis. We've got to talk there first.
Yeah, of course, Oasis is going to be that control point, and we see that happening at the beginning of the matchup, and sometimes you get a pretty good tell of how the rest of the series is going to go. We saw that with William and Mary. They pretty much swept Oasis, and they swept the rest of the series as well, but that was the then. This is the now. Marist, our number 3 seed team, and Fairfield, I think, 13th seed. So there is quite a difference here in terms of map wins and differentials for these two teams, and it's going to bug me just a bit how these are just like a couple of shades apart here on the red.
Yeah, I may or may not have accidentally jabbed myself in the eye before we went on camera, and so I actually can't tell the difference they are that similar on account of all the tears, because my eyes don't like being poked. I don't know about you guys's, but technically, I don't think guys are usually used to that. But something that is going to be an interesting thing, speaking of poke, is of course the compositions that are coming online. In the last series, we saw a ton of poke. Eat sideway there, LaFon. But I wonder if we're going to see more rush compositions here in our matchup between Fairfield and Marist, of course, right? So we did see a lot of Ryan Zarya here today. Is that going to continue? Well, map number 1, there is a point where that could, if we see it, be viable. University is that third point, of course, the indoor point that's very close centered. If we see rush, it will be on that objective, and then we'll have to wait for gardens and city center if there's going to be, more of that mobility involved. So definitely something to keep your eye out on as we open up our match here in the last game of the day, Septilence. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a great one indeed. Fairfield University, they're going to want to bring the heat and attempt to make a name for themselves because, as I mentioned, Marist, one of our top dog schools, one of our biggest contenders here in this matchup. And now we have to see if Marist is going to be able to bring the heat as they always do. Going to be going for that initial dive comp here on City Center, which honestly makes a whole lot of sense to me. You get to utilize that high ground with both Winston and Diva. And Taze and Traders, I mean, they are known for the show that they are able to put on.
Yeah. I mean, out the gate, though, Fairfield with a halt hook combination composition. That's going to be really down to setting up the tanks here for success. And if they can use the Maywall to section people off and get a hook there, that's going to be really good. So Fairfield, their win condition is that hook, and there's that hook landed.
Speaking of hooks, yeah, that hook going to be landed straight away. Going to grab Taze off the high ground. It's going to be great follow-up from the rest of Marist. Traders diving right in, trying to find some value off of it. Taze taking out great aspects of that May, already missing for Fairfield. Fairfield, the Lucio going to be gone as well. A 4v6, and what a great hook there from that Roadhog, but it's not going to be enough. It's a great anti-nade comes out from Vocal, and if it's going to try to stay alive, and it looks like they're going to be able to just barely make it out. WLK going to pick up Face Misk, and it's finally going to be taken out by Ohm. Harmonix able to pick up Chill as well, and WLK not far behind Marist with that first point cap.
And this is Marist with that dive composition, right? They're going to be playing a high-tempo style, waiting for people to engage through the choke, then jumping into the back line, ideally getting rid of, sectioning off, if possible, WLK from the rest of the team and getting rid of the McCree player, and then transitioning into clean up the rest of the time. There is going to be a duplicate online as well as a Primal Rage, but keep an eye out here for the Nano Boost, which should be applied to Taze here in this fight.
Absolutely, that Nano Boost is most likely going to be applied to Taze. That's what you expect to see. But I mean, you're not even going to need it if Harmonix just keeps dropping bombs here from the sky, able to take out 2 there. And I mean, that's pretty much a team kill. I think we see G-Hill able to stay alive for just a moment, but Fade already gone, and Athena will let us know that team kill finally coming to fruition. Marist already having 5, nearly 6 ultimates moving into this next fight. Fairfield coming up on 1.
Yeah, it is going to be a veritable chest of resources here for Marist, and it's all about what they choose to engage with. I would expect Primal Rage and Duplicate to be the right off the top, and then Nano Boost is the cleanup. But, it really is order of operations here for Marist as they look over the top now on their opposition.
And great aspects, going to be swapping onto that Sombra, which I love in hindsight, but I wish I would have seen it just a little bit earlier. And again, I mean, this is Harmonix world, and we are just living in it. That's the second fight in a row. They crack it open with a double kill. Taze able to find G-Hill 240 right off the back of things. And Fairfield, they swap on the Diva to contest a little bit, but it's still not going to be enough.
They do get a couple of percentage points, but, I will say a couple of percentage points here is not a bad idea, especially considering they lost the fight basically immediately. A sight there is that means that now they're going to have last fight territory, but they will actually get a full chance to regroup and use these resources. For Fairfield, what they have to do is get into the choke, lay down the supercharger, and use the Deadeye and Coalescence to clean up after it. If they can force the duplicate to be ineffective, that'll be really good here for Fairfield.
Absolutely, they got Primal Rage and Bomb out in that last fight, and now Vocal going to commit that Nano onto Taze, trying to find some great play on the Winston. And for those of you who may not know, Nano to Winston actually does more out of Primal Rage than in Primal Rage, so that's a little fun fact for you. But Ohm able to find Mass, immediately taking them out of the fight. So the Lucio gone, that B offline, and Face Mist going to be caught in the back line here. Great aspects, going to be hacking them. Harmonix committing into the Sombra, a great call, going to be able to find 4 with that EMP, and they're going to be cleaned up afterward. WLK does find Face Mist, but right before having their own life taken out, 99%, we almost see a back cab coming from Nas, but you've got to wonder why that Lucio's not with the rest of his team right now. They really could have used that beat. Unfortunately, he does try to make it to the point and just isn't able to live long enough. First round goes to Marist.
And a clean run from Marist, and honestly, a very clean dive at the tail end of it. We saw Taze obviously go in with the Winston, and then Harmonix is right there to clean up, and obviously Tracer gameplay there to back up from FaceMisk. So overall, Marist with a very clean and coordinated execution. And I have to say that boils down to having really good communication. So excellent work there from Marist to take round one. 100 to 11, but may as well have been 0 as a dominant round one from them.
Absolutely. Marist, you're going to be sticking to that dive comp in the terms of tanks. We see Omen Vocal also sticking to what they know and love. Trader is actually going to turn it into a double bubble comp, and both Harmonix and FaceMisk going to be swapping up their DPS line just a little bit. Fairfield sticking to that Ryan Zarya, great aspects now on the Soldier 76, and WLK swapping over to that Hanzo. So a lot of changes from both sides here, but Marist, they're going to be bringing a lot of damage very quickly, and Fairfield's going to have to come in, not drop anybody to take this, and we see immediately Adric able to find Ohm, so that is going to be huge here for Fairfield. One more elimination to really seal the deal on this fight, as long as they don't overcommit to much. Harmonix looking for a hack, not able to find it, might be taken out of the fight. Critical condition, able to translocate out of there, and just all the spam damage coming out from Fairfield still isn't going to be enough, as Adric will be taken down by FaceMisk.
Yeah, we're going to see the kills come in. Harmonix actually gets picked off with a great headshot from WOK, so not out of this yet are Fairfield, and they're actually turning this around a little bit here.
Yeah, it's going to be trade for trade, toe-to-toe. Traders and Ohm pick up 2. WLK on the Hanzo so far, making an absolute world of difference, but he's got to get that Zarya out of there because she is cleaning house. Able to find WLK as well. Taze picks up G Hill, and Fairfield, they may lose that fight, but that was absolutely the closest fight we've seen.
It was. It really, really was. A great recovery, though, from Marist towards the end, despite WLK popping off with a couple of clean headshots. It's just buying space, buying time for the reset to come in from Marist. We saw obviously get taken out early in the first fight, and they return to the engagement midway through, so Marist hiding. And now here in this next fight, Primal Rage and Graviton Surge are available. Expect the Nano to be committed. They're just going to walk in.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, here comes that Nano, and Vocal unable to hit that sleep dart as well, but Taze going to be taken out here. A great Nano onto Traders, or excuse me, Taze taking out, not taken out. In Fairfield, they've got 2 ultimates online, nearly 4. Marist, they commit 2, and they're able to really clean up off of it. This next fight, not only are they going to have that Doomfist ult, they're also going to have EMP online.
Yeah, you do want to see Harmonix, and if there is something to nitpick, I would say Harmonix needs to be a little bit better at generating this Sombra ultimate in the EMP.
Agreed.
It's a small thing, but your Sombra really does need to be a little bit faster on the generation, because otherwise she's not finding much value in the mid-to-mid team fights. So Marist getting value from the rest of the team, but you want to see a little bit more from the Sombra player.
Absolutely. EMP, one of the fastest charging ultimates in the game, and arguably the most powerful. So we might see it here. Going to be able to find 5. Everybody but Moss, and it's a good thing for Harmonix that B is not online, because it could have negated that entire EMP, but luckily enough, that's not what's going to happen today. FaceMisk making a bit of a misplay there, but luckily Adric was taken out before the charge connected. Taze also committing the Primal Rage. I don't think it was completely necessary, but I also don't think they have to be too worried, because they're going to have a Nano probably next fight, and Taze will be able to farm that right back up.
I mean, we're heading to the last fight of the round, and possibly the map, as Fairfield is going to have that 6 ult fight. Unfortunately, you know what they say, 6 ults you lose, so Fairfield are going to have to try and commit aggressively, but not over-aggressively, because they still have to worry about the rest of the round if they want to make a comeback here in this map.
Oh, and that's going to put a hole in their plan straight away. Those dragons taken offline, so we're not going to see any grab dragons. Coalescence coming out super early on from G Hill. Vocal going to be taken out by Moss, and now here comes that Visor as well from Great Aspects. Going to see a beat coming out from Ohm, able to keep the team alive, and this high charge Zarya has yet to go down. She is ripping the team apart. We're going to force a beat out from Moss. They almost take him out before he can hit the ground, but luckily enough, he does make it. Adric able to find 1. Ohm going to fall as well. The Reinhardt just swinging for his life, doing what he does best, able to find 2 eliminations, but that still might not be enough. FaceMisk able to, Harmonix able to get out of that fight. Moss and Andeth's going to be taken out. WLK finds Taze, trading left, right, and center, and Fairfield, just like on City Center, looks like they might be able to take this map with no time left on the clock, but Great Aspects able to find Vocal, and things looking better and better here. Traders, however, is able to find Adric, and just like that, nobody can make it to the point. Marist gonna win Oasis very, very convincingly.
Very clean, very clean. It may as well have been 200-0, as we said, after round number 1. But I have to say, that last fight there, 6 ults you lose, you hate to see it. You're going to see the highlight of the game coming in. But, I mean, one of the things is that at that point in time, when you commit so many resources to a fight, you still need to win the fight.
Sure.
And at that end, the Earth Shatter, the Graviton Surge, the Tactical Visor, you know, the Coalescence, all of those got, I think, between all those ultimates, we saw 2 kills. So that's just not enough if you want to be able to win a fight and win a map. And so now, I mean, back to the drawing board here as Marist College takes map number 1 in dominant fashion.
Yeah, I don't think I really expected this to go any other way, honestly. Marist, you're not one of our top-seeded teams on accident. They bring the heat every single week. They do a phenomenal job. And overall, Zarya, whose name is currently escaping me at the moment, I mean, just did not die. And you need to be killing that high-charge Zarya. If she's sitting the entire game, 70, 80, 90 charge, I mean, that is a force to be reckoned with. That is 70 damage minimum per second. So that is terrifying. And then she got nanoed, I think, 2 or 3 times during that fight as well. So it really came down to get rid of that Zarya, because that's really what Fairfield failed to do, and that's the very reason they weren't able to cap there right at the end.
I think something that's interesting, actually, I want to highlight here is the fact that the support ultimates for Marist were actually online late in those fights. And there is a couple of reasons for that. One is that the amount of damage the tanks and the DPS are putting is so high that they're able to generate their ultimates quite quickly. The flip side to that is that they're also not taking a ton of damage. So supports are having to, sort of build their ultimates via damage themselves and the chip damage that, Marist is receiving. And so the ultimates are coming online slower for the support. So that is something to kind of keep an eye out on here as we go forward, in that you're often going to see the Primal Rage, used before the Nano Boost. And that's somewhat inefficient, one could say, as you usually want to use the Nano into the Primal. But, I mean, with as much success as Marist is having, that's not a criticism. It's just an observation of how efficiently the tanks are playing.
Absolutely. We've seen some great tank efficiency coming out from Marist, and Fairfield just unable to match it up. We saw the double bubble work out super, super well for Marist. It's a comp we're seeing thrown around just a little bit more as of late, and Fairfield going to be coming out with that brawl that can work, but going up against a team as clean and as very rarely down like Marist, you're really going to struggle unless it's a comp you are 100% confident with. And Marist, I cannot say it enough, they are the giant to be slain.
Yeah. We are going to head into map number 2, King's Row, as our predetermined map pool is set up. So we'll get to King's Row here in just a second. I mean, you're talking, of course, about the double bubble. We did have maps that weren't conducive to brawl or to rush, right? We saw the 2 sub maps, rather, of Oasis as City Center and Garden. University is the one on Oasis where you kind of expect rush to be seen. So King's Row will likely be the first time we can see a map that is good for rush, and that's going to really be, I think, the informing factor here in this series is how well can these teams play up in the mirror on a rush map.
Right, absolutely. And Marist going to be on that defense first, which means Fairfield, of course, chose to be on the offense. So they're going to be picking that side, and it's going to be a little bit unusual as we see they're going to be maybe actually be running that that Bastion Symmetra comp. So it's something that we almost saw earlier, and then a great 6-man shatter came through and the team changed their mind completely. But now, I mean, it can work out. If you can get Bastion up on top of that statue, he's sometimes difficult to dislodge.
It's a surprise factor too, right? If you're not expecting the setup, then you can kind of get the Bastion can get in behind. I wonder if they're going to teleport to Mundata. Actually, over the left side door. Smart. No one can scout them. Or a delayed scouting, anyway.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a Mundata teleport.
There it is. Yep, right on top of that statue. We've seen this, and talk about that surprise factor. Vocal almost taken out of the fight, able to hide themselves for just a moment, and Face Misk somehow still able to find Adric in the matchup, so that is going to be nothing short of unfortunate. WLK going to teleport back to the top of the statue with the pressure coming out from all of Marist, and now he is stuck there in the back line. Got to confirm at least one elimination to make it worth it. They're able to find Anis and Harmonix. Going to take that Bastion out of the fight, so now a 5v5. Face Misk is gone. WLK is gone. But Fairfield, that only works once.
It is a delayed respawn, though, right? In the sense that Face Misk is going to have a long walk back. And this is going to be an advanced Bastion teleport onto the high ground here. So overlooking the point, Fairfield have a decent amount of space to work with if they get into position.
Yeah, their tanks are going to be gone. They get the Bastion up onto the high ground just a little bit late, and he might have to pay the price of his life for it. He's not able to return fast enough. Face Misk back into the fight, takes that Bastion out, finds the Symmetra as well. And Fairfield, they've got a couple of ults if they choose to stick to this comp, so they may be able to make some things happen in the next fight, but Marist coming up on a couple of ultimates of their own.
Yeah, I was just going to highlight that I think Fairfield should switch at this point. WLK is not going to get a ton of value on the Bastion after that, so there it is indeed, the switch to the Hanzo. The double projectile, there is no real hit scan here to contest grid aspects in the sky, so I don't necessarily think this is a bad choice. We'll have to see how effective at building around the spam grid aspects is, especially with the Baptiste. That's exactly what needed to be done.
Yep, Baptiste taken out of the fight. Vocal is able to find Adric after a great shatter from Adric as well, and Traders and Taze able to clean up off the back of it. Taze dropping a shatter of their own. So both these Reinhardts getting some great value. Taze just getting to live a little bit longer. And like you mentioned, that Pharah is going to be great because the only real constant contester is going to be that Baptiste, and Baptiste was taken out of the fight straight away. Ohm will be returning in just a moment with that amplification matrix online as well, and Fairfield just not getting those ultimates yet.
Nano grab here, keep an eye on that, but of course the Blizzard is going to be a key difference maker here. Harmonix can zone out quite a bit with that ability, and you can see them walking forward, trying to get around.
Oh, there's the grab. There's an amp matrix. WLK finds 2 in the mix-up there, but 2 is not going to be enough, as Marist is able to find 4, 1 minute and 45 seconds on the clock. Harmonix with the double kill. Doesn't have to commit the Blizzard either, but Traders is going to be taken out. Ohm finds G-Hill super late in the fight. That's another 10 seconds off the clock. And Fairfield, they've lost the last couple of fights dry, but they're going to be moving into this one pretty aggressive, I would assume.
Yeah, I will say great play by there to get the kill onto the staggered kill, because that allows the team to walk back in. WLK with a great early pickoff. Grab available here. Combo is necessarily online.
And they've got the grab, and now the May is offline, so the Blizzard's going to be gone. That's going to be an even better push for Fairfield. Marist might give up 1 or 2 ticks and then attempt a 5v6 re-engage, but they're going to have to commit like crazy to make that happen. It looks like 2 ticks are going to be given up, and yeah, here comes that re-engage for the third, taking a lot of unnecessary damage on the way in. Traders is still going to be in mech mode with a great anti-nade from G-Hill. This tank line may be taken out. Here comes the grab Dragons. This is going to be nothing short of a massacre. Looks like that Immortality Field is going to be able to save them quite a bit, and Face Misk finds 2, but it's going to be too late as Fairfield is able to successfully cap that point. Face Misk with the triple kill there. Traders finds great aspects in the air, but the point has already been capped.
I think despite the fact that Graviton Dragon Surge combination didn't get any eliminations, the zoning power of it was such that they were not able to contest the point, and obviously with 1 tick taken, they had to back out. The reset's going to come in here now for Marist as they don't get the full hold, but I mean, 3 minutes on the time bank here, especially with the resources Marist has available to them. They still have the Blizzard, and of course, they're going to have the Earth Shatter available here as well. Marist are still in a fairly decent position. Can they dodge the barrage, I should say, from
Absolutely. And they're able to dodge that shatter early on. And I always refer to this right here as point 1.5, as this is where a lot of teams get stalled. And we saw a great flashbang from Face Misk there, interrupt that rocket barrage from great aspects on the Pharah. And now Marist, they get to take control all over again. They commit 1 ultimate to do it, and Harmonix still has that Blizzard online.
At this point now, Harmonix is kind of in the heads of Fairfield because they know the Blizzard is available, right? Even passively generating it would have gone at this point, and Harmonix has been anything but. So this is going to now be a case of how aggressively can Fairfield afford to push, knowing that the Blizzard is online and that they have nothing to counter it.
Yeah, they don't have anything to eat it, they have nothing to catch it, they just have to tank it and try to get out in the 3 or 4 seconds that you've got before you freeze, if even that. Here come those zoning dragons once again, but Harmonix finally going to drop that Blizzard, already finds 2. The tank line will be missing for Fairfield in this upcoming fight. Vocal finds great aspects, and Marist College, they're once again on top of this. 1 minute 45 left on the clock. Taze slams WLK into that spawn door, and there goes G-Hill as well. Moss might be able to make it back into spawn, but just barely. Harmonix with that ultimate fire going to send them back as well.
Yeah, and this is now where Marist College actually has full control of the game. They have the ultimate economy. It is, 2 fights remaining in the round with 1 minute 30 on the clock, and they have the support ultimates coming online, right? This is the big difference maker here. Anything that Fairfield University has can be mirrored or exceeded by Marist, and that's a really tough position to be in offensively when you're down to that last minute of play.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, even in the mirror matchup, Marist is going to be able to bring that up, bring the heat, and take it to the next level in an attempt to beat Fairfield. We see Traders taking advantage of that high ground again. It looks like they're going to get walled in, and a great shatter going to be coming out here from Taze immediately after the beat from Moss. Not able to find any kills quite yet, but the rest of Marist able to clean up off the back of it. 3 are going to be down. Fairfield University down to 50 seconds left on the clock. They've got 1 more good push if they just die and respawn right here, right now. G-Hill gets staggered just a little bit, but going to be taken out by Ohm in the double kill there. And I think another thing that Marist has that a lot of teams do not is they have such a bloodthirsty support line.
Yeah, this is disastrous actually for Fairfield. Losing players in this last 30 seconds is something you cannot afford to have. And I mean, Fairfield does have a win condition established. They have the Graviton Surge combo, but we saw what happened the last time this was available. It was with no eliminations. It was actually the zoning that got them value.
Yeah, and zoning, I mean, they're not going to be able to zone themselves all the way to that second point. Kings Row, 1.5 really rearing its ugly head today. As Fairfield, I'm not sure they're going to be able to make it further than this. There's plenty of ways they're able to turn this around, and here comes the Dragons. Harmonix taken out, but no Traders with the eat onto the grab. That can be huge. Fairfield once again get to use these dragons and move forward, but here comes Traders with a desperation bomb. The nano comes through and is immediately sent back to the graveyard, and it's taken out of the fight. WLK uses that storm arrow onto Taze as well, and it might be Traders versus the world, but they are going to go down swinging, able to find 2 eliminations on cart before getting finally eliminated, and a great stagger coming out from Fairfield here. They are already in overtime. They're going to have to do a very difficult thing here if they want to cap this second point.
So now it's all eyes on Adric, because Adric is the only person who can genuinely clutch this. Marist will have an easy win condition. Set up the amplification matrix, fire strike through it, get Earth Shatter, win the, finish the hold. If Adric can deny that, then this is what they really need to set up for success here to capture point 2.
Yeah, we definitely want to see them capture the second point, but this shatter has to be bigger than ever. There's that Amp Matrix and Face Mist. Already finding Moss is going to be a disaster, and it's almost losing that mech, and Adric slamming that shatter right into the enemy Reinhardt shield is nothing short of a disaster. They are bullied off the point by Marist College, and the cart will be stalled for Fairfield just before that second point.
Fairfield don't get shut out, though, so they do have a possibility of bringing this map back.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's going to come down to a first hold here. If they can get a good first fight on their defense and deny Marist College the steamroll on the attack, then there's still an opportunity here for Fairfield to even the series up. It's really, again, going to come down to how well can they react to what Marist brings out of the attacking gates.
Absolutely. They're going to have to bring the heat, so to speak, one of my favorite phrases. And now, I mean, Marist, they've got such an aggressive lead in this game. They're up 2-0 technically in Oasis, but 1-0 in terms of total score. And now Fairfield, they've pretty much got one chance to protect that first point, and if they fail, they're going to hand a giant time bank to Marist. Looks like Harmonix may be starting on the Widowmaker, which I am, a fan of. Maybe wait for the doors to open, look for one cheeky shot, and swap onto something else. But Harmonix as a whole, I feel, it just has not been charging ultimates fast enough. So maybe to be on a character like Widowmaker, where charging your ultimate isn't necessarily a make or break for a fight, we may see Harmonix actually get more value than we've seen already.
It's a good opening situation if you can. I think the thing here to note, though, is that Fairfield is not running the Mei, and when you're playing the composition that they are, they're just going to have to take the full, the full head-on attack.
Right.
So if they can, they need to survive this first Mei wall from Harmonix. If they don't, then it is going to be a pretty disastrous point A defense.
Absolutely, and if you hand point A away with more than a couple of minutes on the clock, it's going to be a lot easier to get through that King's Row second area, and that's definitely a place that we saw. I mean, we saw it in the proof is in the pudding today. Fairfield got a lot of value there, and then they got stalled completely, so definitely see that it can really be opposed. It can be just as strong for the offense as it is the defense, and vice versa. Face Mist going to miss that crucial headshot, but finds the second one, a 5v5, and already Marist is just bullying Fairfield off point. Taze going to drop into critical condition, but Adric going to be the first one to fall. The main tank already missing the off tank, immediately behind, and here comes a third, make it a fourth kill, make it a fifth. The team of Fairfield just being wiped off the face of King's Row with a complete and total team kill online.
That is actually worst case scenario here for Fairfield, because that is the fight they needed to stabilize on. They not only give up the objective, they give up a ton of ult percentage and 5 minutes on the clock to capture only half of the first point, or the second point, I should say.
Yeah, about 75% to that second point. Ohm able to find Moss, and Taze going to be taken out with Face Mist getting that revenge kill onto that Symmetra early on. Here comes that Amp Matrix, probably here comes that High Noon. I wouldn't be surprised to see, but now WLK on the Genji can't be as cheeky with that High Noon as maybe you'd like to, especially as Aneth takes your Lucio offline. WLK going to be taken out by Harmonix, so trade after trade here. Both these teams, I think, sitting at 4 for the time being.
This is going to, I mean, they broke the hardest part of the choke now. Marist is in the winning stretch of the game. They have the Blizzard. It is last fight territory here. Fairfield are in another position where they need their tanks to pop off and land a massive shatter.
Yeah, we need to see a colossal shatter here, and here comes that High Noon from around the corner. Face Mist going to take a lot of damage, maybe too much, but no, he is able to get them all down to that 25%, and Taze, with one swing, just rips the team apart. We see Face Mist get them low, give his life for the cause, and Taze just gets to hold that left click, a Reinhardt's biggest dream. Going to be able to put on a little bit of a show for us as this card rolls uncontested into that golden box of victory here on King's Row.
And I dare say the highlight's going to be that Deadeye gameplay. It broke the shield, allowed the shatter for Taze, uncontested, right? And this might be Taze with the shatter, but it was the McCree who set it all up. Well, we can see here.
Face Mist made it happen, honestly. Face Mist had a great, breaks the shield. Here comes a completely free shatter, and 3 with 1 swing. They were really that low. That High Noon broke through the shield, got them all super low on health, and overall just magnifique. Like I said, every Reinhardt's biggest dream.
Yeah, and I mean, now Marist are in a position to close out the series with a 3-0 as we head to Assault as our third map type. And I mean, credit to Fairfield rather for bringing the heat in a couple of fights. They took the first point, were able to actually contest, and they make progress on the objective, but it's going to need to be a little bit cleaner from them. I mean, all eyes on Marist for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to execute so cleanly in their gameplay. I have to say, though, McCree standing out in the open with the Deadeye and not instantly falling over, the fact that he's able to get that much value is certainly astonishing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were able to catch it there, but in the play of the game, you see his Baptiste commit the immortality field around the corner to keep him alive, and that seems like such a small thing to so many, but that's the very reason that giant play comes through at the end, and it really comes down to, the Reinhardt gets it because of McCree gets it because of Baptiste, and it's just this very large cycle of really great coordination from these teams.
It certainly is. And I think, obviously it's easy to, we talked about the supports not generating ultimates fast enough or I shouldn't say not generating, being unable to generate them fast enough in the first map. But here on a map type where the tanks necessarily take more damage, we saw just how up to the task they were of being that rock for their team, being the support in place, and being able to generate the resources required. So certainly on the level here for Marist. And I mean, as I said, they're looking to complete the shutout, complete the map. On Assault as Hanamura is up next.
Yeah, Hanamura coming up next. It's going to be that 2CP map that we know. We might not love it, but we all know it pretty darn well, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on as well. And, if this one ends in favor of Fairfield, who is down obviously 2-0 at the time being, we will go into our fourth map, and then, yada yada. We got to get there before we talk about it, but Gibraltar is that fourth map on standby, but we got to get through Hanamura first, and if it's anything like Oasis was earlier, Marist should take this without much of a problem.
I mean, speaking of getting through Hanamura first, quite literally, Fairfield needs to get through Hanamura first, the first objective on point A. So that's going to be, I mean, I think that'll tell us the tale of the series in the sense is, do we think it's going to be finished towards the third map, or are we going to extend beyond that? That first fight is so critical, especially at this level where teams can commit those first fight into snowballs. And that's why if you see a first fight hold, a lot of the time you extend into the overtime and you get much less, progress on the objective. Because one thing we've noticed throughout the entirety of the day today is that across the teams that we've seen throughout the entirety of today, when the team wins a fight very handily, they're often able to bypass the second choke as well because of the time it takes for the losing team to regroup. So that's, I think, a big difference maker here is that these teams have to take that extra seconds to, to parse the information they have and reset and kind of stabilize.
Absolutely, and as we always say, and you kind of touched on this a little bit just a moment ago, but when your best opportunity to win that second point is immediately after winning the first. The term for that usually is snowball. You want to plow from one point to the other, and you just want to never give the opposing team time to really think about what's happening. And we might see that here. I think that's going to be a pretty large expectation. Fairfield currently sitting on what we saw an attempt at earlier today, that Symmetra teleport strat.
I do like this composition more here, though, because you've got the Maywall to, section off.
Right.
The Symmetra does a ton of damage in close with the turrets, with her beam that ramps up, and of course you have the huge amount of heals available here from the Moira and Baptiste. So Fairfield unlikely to explode at the first sign of trouble. Speaking of, the person most likely to explode is FaceMix, a Genji.
Yeah, also something of note, Emerald, I believe, has been subbed in for Harmonix there for Marist College, so definitely keep an eye out on that as well. But FaceSmith's going to be take out WLK, seemingly instantaneous. Moss going to be taken out by a very angry German man with the hammer there. FaceSmith's able to find the double. I'm going to pick up another kill on the Brigida. So Marist, they're looking to bring the heat up close and personal here. And I mean, look at the ult charge already on the side of Marist. Fairfield, they've got some as well, but Taze is 15% away from a shatter.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the Reinhardt swinging through the entirety of the team, and Marist is playing a very stable composition here.
Yes.
They're playing around a couple of win conditions, right? They're playing around the fact that they're going to have Nanoblade eventually, but the rest of the team is so survivable that it allows the Genji to play on the flank and not really have to worry about supporting his team. So, credit to Marist for giving Genji the opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely. And now we see Aneth swapping onto the D.Va. That's going to be great if they're able to eat those flame strikes and really negate Taze. But unfortunately, unbeknownst to them, Taze already has that shatter online, so eating his flame strikes at this point is hardly going to matter. Moss's immortality field gets committed and taken out very early on, and now amplification matrix coming out. WLK able to find traders with that headshot storm arrow. Main tangle, I guess one of the main tanks already going to be missing here. Face Mist again. Blade online. The nano blade can come out at any moment. Emerald didn't commit that high noon, able to find Aneth out of that mech, and there goes Moss as well. Face Mist finding two in the back line. Everyone is going to be taken out by that phenomenal nano blade. Make it a 4K Face Mist. These people have families. You gotta let them live one time.
Yeah, it is going to be a case of a lot of resources need to be expended, though. So Fairfield, credit to Face Mist for making Genji work. Fairfield is still happy with how much they were able to extract from Marist's resource bank. Now, I mean, there is the stabilization available with the rally online. It's a lot of armor to sort of chew through. Marist College have to play this one slow, though.
Yeah, we're going to have to see a slow play from Marist, and looks like we're going to see a three-man shatter coming out from Adric there. So unfortunately, he is going to be the one to give his life, as Traders with that supercharger is going to be able to burn him down before he's able to get any value off of it. WLK has those dragons as well. Going to be great space makers, as we've seen time and time again today, but so far, not going to be working out quite yet, as Space Mist is able to find Moss, and the pressure coming out from this team, as always, is going to be nothing short of hyper-aggressive. Marist going to be pushing very close to those spawn doors, and Face Mist already 60% to another blade.
Speaking of the combo, though, Vocal already has a nano boost, so farming far ahead of the Genji in this duo. And now it's all eyes on Face Mist trying to replicate the success the Genji had in the previous fight, as he's trying to farm up to that blade.
I'm not sure he's going to get that blade online for this engagement, so it may take a little bit longer to get this all pulled off. WLK, however, going to commit dragons early on. Going to be a great zoner, but Taze hitting a four-man shatter. I mean, those dragons do not even matter as the Nano Reinhardt comes through, and he just will not stop swinging. Able to find a triple kill in the matchup, and WLK able to find traders in the back of it, which is actually going to be great for Fairfield's next push, because although Orisa has 4 legs, she is still crazy slow.
I think she's the slowest person on this team. Tied with Ana. Everyone else has some form of movement ability, but I mean, you do have the Deadeye to stall out as the engagement comes in, so it's not completely untoward. As you can see, chasing the Sombra away from the objective.
Yeah, it looks like Vocal going to be committing that nade early on, not able to find even their own teammates, unfortunately, so it's definitely something to keep an eye out. Emerald committing another high noon very early on, trying to make it work, but not able to find that kill. Ohm going to find Moss, but give their own life for it, as WLK finds another headshot, which comes as no surprise. 3 EMP going to be coming out from Great Aspects, and a giant bomb from Anna, able to find 3 people. In the mix-up, Face Mist going to tie the numbers up, finding 3 of his own with that blade. The hack just could not do enough. The Hanzo versus the Genji. Nobody else lives long enough to tell the tale, and now 6 health. Face Mist going to be taken out by Moss, just now returning to the point. Traders, Orisa at critical condition up against Moss, who is at that full health. Going to be able to find that horse, send her to the glue factory, and Fairfield looks like they're going to be able to cap this first point in overtime.
There is actually going to be a recontest here, I think, from Marist, and I think they're going to go for it right
give up
now. They need a touch, though.
They need to touch it. It's really close. They need to get on the point. They're able to do so. And what a well-timed shatter from Taze. I mean, come on. As soon as that bubble broke, he was ready to get that ultimate online. Able to find a great shatter, but the dragons coming through could be huge. This time, Emerald finds 2. Emerald finds 3. Adric does pick up that main tank, but Emerald finding a 4th in the matchup. Somebody's got to stop this McCree, because he is not going to stop on his own. Able to find 4 in the mix-up there, and G Hill going to be taken out as well. Just as I said it, folks, I was so confident in Fairfield for just a moment, but Marist College, they are able to come back 95.3% on first point. Now a win condition has been set.
A couple of reasons why Marist was able to hold that. One, they had the critical cooldowns coming on into that fight, right? They had the rally, so they had the survivability. They had the Earth Shatter, so they had the ability to shut down the movement of Fairfield. And lastly, Reinhardt Steadfast actually playing a huge part of that fight, right? Reinhardt with his passive, he's not knocked around nearly as much. Reinhardt got booped off the point several times by Taze, right?
Right.
So if it had been any other character, it would have been booped up long enough that they would have been able to capture the objective. So the fact that it was Reinhardt that was the one that was contesting meant that Marist was able to stabilize on the objective long enough to land the shatter, long enough to get the rest of the team in place. And then as the story was told from there, a great shatter meant that everyone was on the ground and the cleanup was right there. So a combination of things going well for Marist, but as I said, you have to be good to be lucky.
Yep.
And Marist certainly showing it right there.
Absolutely, and they're going to be sticking to that same team comp, it seems. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You're able to secure that first point. Fairfield going to be bringing out a defensive Doomfist, which I personally, not a huge fan, especially the way the rest of your comp is intending to play. Doomfist is going to have to get up close and personal, but everybody else is going to wait for Marist to come to them. They're going to try to play the choke, but for WLK to get any value, he's going to have to go through the choke.
I will say this, it's going to be a miracle if WLK gets any sort of value simply because
agreed,
there's nothing for him to kill. There's too many stuns, and he's in no man's land where he cannot get healed should he decide to go in.
Right, exactly. I think this is going to be a bit of a misplay coming out from Fairfield here. Vocal able to already be 25% of that nano, but a great hook, able to find face mist early on. Going to be a 4v6 in favor of Fairfield University, and Adric able to get some great value there. The Genji and the Brigitte taken offline, and Vocal going to have some great pressure put on, but here comes Taze from the top rope, able to find WLK in the mix-up, and like we said, that's a no man's land. There was nothing the team could have done to keep that Doomfist alive.
Yeah, the Doomfist struggling to get the elimination there, and that means that they are going to be in a last-ditch effort now here to hold, as Marist is going to try to walk in off the back of it.
Yeah, Marist, they're going to try to find some great value off the back of this fight. Taze already 75%, but that Symmetra, she's at full swing. Emerald going to be taken out. He unplugs that microwave there in face mist, putting the pressure onto Adric now, trying to find any kind of value. Not Adric, excuse me, G-Hill. If he's able to find that elimination, that's going to be huge. One by one, we see Fairfield getting ripped apart. One tick already down the drain. The second one closing in just a moment. And that, my friends, I believe is already going to be the end of Hanamura. A map over as soon as it started, and Marist with another 3 Overwatch here tonight.
It has been a night of shutouts here at the stream. The broadcast, it has been a one-sided affair all night as we get the highlight in. I suppose the only difference, of course, is that this time around on the schedule, you'll see the winning team on the right instead of the left.
The streak has been broken. Marist is going to be on the right side of that list, the one we show during our breaks and halftimes. You'll see in just a minute because we have to throw to break to get our interviewee in here. But, that streak was broken. It was three teams on the left. Marist going to come in clutch, break that streak, even if just for a moment. We are going to throw to a quick break. We'll see if we can get an interviewee in here, and if not, we'll be right back to close things out. But don't go far, guys. We still got to get through this interview. We'll see you soon. One more welcome back of the night, my tanks, healers, and damage dealers. Still going to be Septilin, still going to be Lafon, and now we are interviewing the DPS, mostly projectile DPS player, Harmonix from Marist College. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing all right. I mean, you guys, I talk about this in the beginning, not that you were watching the stream, but I talk about this at the beginning of every stream, that you guys are one of our top seed teams. You're one of our top placement teams, and you brought the heat, as we always expected you to. But tell me, being at the top, you guys aren't necessarily number one. Are there any teams you guys have really been keeping an eye on that you're excited to test yourselves up against?
Definitely, I'd say like RIT, UTA, St. John's, teams like that, teams that we've versed and that we've lost to. So, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to those matches, some rematches, and hoping to come back stronger and hopefully on top.
Absolutely, you guys have been bringing the heat like no other, honestly, been on the up and up for quite a while, and just doing a phenomenal job overall. But now, I'm going to throw you over to Lafon, who's got a question lined up for you.
Yeah, a question obviously talking about you guys as being towards the top of the standings. You guys performed excellently here, consistently at the forefront of the engagements. How difficult has it been for teams can sometimes, lose their way when they're doing well? How well has your team kind of adjusted to being one of those better teams in the standings and kind of, keeping the rust off, so to speak, without getting cocky in their engagements?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we talk about. Like, even though if we feel like we're playing very strongly, we still remind ourselves that we need to keep playing seriously. Don't get, like you said, don't get too cocky, and to continuously just play how we play. Don't do anything stupid. Don't go off of the playbook that we usually do. So yeah, definitely just keeping each other in check and just reminding each other is super helpful. So a lot of teamwork there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important, both on and off the battlefield, to keep yourselves in check, make sure you're not getting maybe too overconfident, because at the end of the day, there always will be that bigger dog, and you have to, constantly keep practicing and whatnot. But today, I mean, Marist was very clearly the big dog. Thank you so much for the interview, Harmonix. We always love to hear from people that were in the game themselves, and you guys all put on a great performance tonight, so please extend our congratulations to your teammates as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. And with that, folks, it is that unfortunate time of the evening where we finally get to call it a night. I say finally, this was a really early night. We had two very quick 3-0s coming out from both of these teams, both Marist and William and Mary, immediately before this, but we do finally get to call it a close. Of course, one big shout out to EGF as a whole, a shout out to Build, our wonderful producer and great friend, and a shout out to Lafon for joining us in his EGF debut. You guys may see him again very soon. All depends on the schedule lineup, but thank you so much for being here, man. Couldn't cast by myself. That gets pretty sloppy. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we've got a couple of replays lined up for you guys as we come into a close here tonight, but check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and enjoy these replays. We'll see you guys next week.